My name is Tommy Springfield.
And I am a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that.
And this is Welcome to My City.
How you doing?
The city is Springfield. The state is Massachusetts. I like to think I'm the
King of talk.
King of talk.
That's a pretty big expectation, like for me,
It is.
right? It's like, you're the king of talk? Bless you. It's like, you're the king of talk? You better be a good talker.
You better bring it, man.
Yeah, bring it.
You better bring it.
Yeah, move over, Joe Rogan.
I also like to think I'm the king of my city and also the king of my state. If you like how I do things here, please hit that like, share, subscribe, hit the bell so you can get notifications every time I drop one of these videos. If you just push play on this video, your view, your time, and energy is much appreciated. But I must forewarn you, you did not just tune into your local news, you tuned into your local Negro news.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
And I know everybody like, oh, he said the N-word. Well, what does that mean?
It's gonna be legend. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Keep waiting. Wait for it. Here it comes. Almost there. Dairy. Legendary.
It's just my ignorant opinion on what's going on in the world. And this is a story that always comes up when people try to downplay Donald Trump. And this is my part 2 of why the Central Park 5 was guilty. We have the lead cop, Eric Reynolds, and he's been going over the case. He's been going over catching the guys for a whole total separate beating. And a whole nother shift found the jogger. And these young kids have admitted to it. I done showed you the videos of them admitted to it. And I know you're going to come up with all the excuses. But let's remember, they were found guilty by a jury of their peers. And we're going to pick right up to where we left off with yesterday. Let's go.
His mother, his father, and him, right there. And the detective told him, listen, we'd like to talk to you back at Central Park, precinct about what happened last night in the park. So the parents were like, yeah, okay, no problem. And you see, now, I wasn't a detective at the time, and I would not have thought of it. But the detective from Night Watch said, well, wait, before we go, can you have Antron put on the clothes he was wearing last night? Mm-hmm. So I was kind of like, kind of curious as to like why. But again, I wasn't a detective. I didn't understand the,
blood,
the value
and all.
Yeah.
Right.
So he goes into the room, goes into his bedroom, comes back out 5 minutes later. He's wearing a matching sweatsuit that is covered on the front of it from top to bottom with dried mud. So now you got to ask yourself the question, how does he get dried mud on the front of his jogging suit?
Okay, so if you didn't watch part 1, the significance of having dry mud on him, because the Central Park jogger, the female that was beaten in R. Kelly, had mud all over her. She was in the ravine. She was muddy. So for him to get mud on the front of it, either he was laying down in the mud face down or he was laying on top of her after she was muddy.
Unless he's laying on something that's muddy, face down, which would be the jogger who was completely covered in mud from the attack. And he's muddy from getting on top of her.
I can't believe that he went in the room and put that same outfit back on.
Like,
I would have pictured him just pretending like, I was wearing this.
He put the same outfit on because he was young and dumb. His mama and them clearly was dumb, hadn't taught them nothing, so their parents was dumb because they ain't learned shit. And he went and put the same outfit on because he didn't know no better.
But he did it. He put the same outfit back on, and now you're all heading back to Central Park.
Yeah.
What happens then?
Now the homicide squad gets there, and so now we got a lot
The
more
heavy
people.
guns.
Yeah, and we got the press is up there. The press is up our ass.
Does the press know what happened yet?
They know that a woman was attacked and nearly killed, and probably sexually assaulted. I don't recall exactly what they knew at that point in the investigation.
You know, that's just to put a little add in there. That's where sometimes the police department is its own worst enemy. A sensitive case like this, giving information out to the press that can compromise the case, and they do it all the time.
There's always that one guy that's got to say something to the press. Usually the one who's the least involved.
Right. He calls his little hook at the Post or whatever.
Yeah.
No, but actually, sometimes it comes right from the chief of D's office. They give them too much information.
Yeah.
Give us an idea of what it looks like outside Central Park Command. Inside the park, you got your precinct there. What does it look like right now? What time of the day is it?
It's early.
By the way, as you can see, the name of this channel is Police Off the Cuff. This is a good channel. They're all, well, of course, the one in the middle is an ex-cop, but the two hosts are cops, and I love how they do the interviews. They do them like an interrogation, and while one's talking, the other one may be over there looking at papers, researching, then he'll jump in. I love this show. Go check them out. Police Off the Cuff.
Morning. It's like 8, 9 in the morning, and it's just jam-packed. It's jam-packed with news vehicles,
Outside
with police
of it.
cars. Yeah.
I used to hate that when I was coming into work and I would see all the news vans in front of the precinct, and you know something went on, and it's not going to be my day, no matter what I had planned, to throw that to the side.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be involved in investigating this case.
Now, Eric, let me just ask you something. I know, I've worked, hundreds of major cases and big investigations. Who was running this investigation? What ranking officer at that point?
Sal Blando.
Captain. He was captain from the
Blando.
bureau. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, was there a briefing of all the new people that had come in for 8 o'clock in the morning shift? Was everyone briefed as to what occurred the night before?
Sure.
Who conducted that briefing?
Oh, I don't recall that.
But because that's really important. That's really important, so you get everyone up to speed, so people know what the hell they're looking at.
Yeah, because what happened was, at some point, the bosses grabbed me, and I was being debriefed by the chief of detectives and a couple of other people.
Who was the chief of detectives back then?
Actually, it was the Manhattan chief of detectives, Aaron Rosenthal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he sat me down, and I had to give him,
an update of what had occurred from your point of view.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would imagine now we're going to start re-interviewing these kids.
Right. And what happened was that these kids, they had varying degrees of familiarity with each other. So some kids knew other kids by their first and last names. Some kids knew other kids by nicknames. Some kids knew other kids by, they go to PS, whatever school they go to. It was like that. And the detectives would go, like, we got those first 3 or 4, interview them, get another 3 or 4 names, go out and get them, get another 3 or 4 names from them, and it just kept going like that in drips and drabs, getting people as they're being identified by other co-defendants. And then what created the bottleneck was they were all juveniles. So the only place you can interview them is the juvenile room. So it's not like you could take them to different rooms in the precinct and interview them separately.
Because that's the law. They had to interview these rooms. Yeah.
So before all these interviews, these kids are still sitting in that area with their parents.
Yeah.
Basically able to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe even create a story.
That's correct. But now, because Central Park was so packed, and we were, really didn't have enough room, a decision was made to go to the 2-0, where sex crimes was. So we go to the sex crimes.
You're moving the whole operation to the 2-0.
Everything goes to the 2-0 until Liz Lederer finds out that there might be some issue with the 2-0 precinct's certification for their juvenile room.
Who's Liz Lederer?
She's the DA that prosecuted the case.
Okay.
When you had mentioned
Good that she knew that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially up front before you got there, because the whole case could have been thrown out if...
That's why we moved to the 2-4.
Okay.
Because, like you said, Bill, you said, you have to interview them in a family, in a juvenile room designated by the family court.
Right.
The family court actually had someone come there and certify it. It's not like we could come and just
this is
type up a
juvenile
sign.
room, right?
Yeah.
We like
put
this
some
room.
tape on it. Yeah. No, they go in there and there's a certain criteria
So it's
for it.
taken very seriously.
Very seriously.
Any boss, sergeant, lieutenant, captain is going to know if you don't have the juvenile in the juvenile room, that's a no-no, and that's where he is or she is to be interviewed.
That's correct.
And that's to protect them, keep them away from older prisoners and
That's correct.
influences that may influence them in a negative way.
So now you're in the 2-4, and this is where these interviews are taking places?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where all the videotaped confessions are.
There's a
made.
report. What's it called, Bill? The Central Park 5?
Well,
What's
it's
it
the
called?
fine law. This is a 43-page report that was done by 3 attorneys with the help of police.
Is that the one you shared with me?
Yes, it's the fine law.
With the videos?
Well, the name...
No, there's actually a website that's called Central Park 5 joggerattackers.com.
And it's the way it's spelled, it's Central.
And that website is right here, Central Parker. You can go there. You can watch the interrogation videos. They're all right here. But let's get back to the video because it's about to start
Park
getting juicy.
Jogger, not a, there's no S,
Central
Jogger.
Park 5
Okay,
jogger.
it's the number 5.
Right.
Central Park 5
joggerattackers.com.
Attackers.com. And on that website, you can see, I think it's 9
statements.
confessions.
Yes, all the statements.
The only confession that I noticed that wasn't there was Salam, right?
So what happened with Yusuf Salam was, we originally thought he was an adult. He had taken his bus pass and changed his date of birth on it to make it look like he was 16. So, under the, being under the impression that he was old enough to be interviewed by himself, Tommy McKenna, I don't know if you know Tommy.
North Homicide School,
Yeah.
first grade detective, right?
So Tommy's interviewing him, and he's he's getting stuff from him. And then his mother shows up at the precinct, and he's got a big brother, not an actual brother, but from the Big Brother program, like a mentor type of thing, who was a U.S. attorney, and the mother.
It's a good big brother to have.
Yeah. Well, it's a conflict of interest for him to have gotten involved. He got into a lot of trouble for going there and getting involved in this investigation.
He shouldn't have.
No.
He's not a lawyer for hire. He's not a defense attorney. What is he doing there?
Exactly.
But for your family and friends, you come to their aid no matter what it may cost you.
So,
I mean, in hindsight, you want to look out for your family. You're his big brother, but that's a.
well, the kid, the mother was arguing with Linda Fairstein that his mother should be there with him to be interviewed, and Linda said no, he doesn't have that right. He's an adult. He's 16, and she says no, he's 15. And she goes, no, we got identification. His identification shows him as 16 years old. And then she had to run home and get a birth certificate.
First of all, a bus pass is not identification. 2, why would a mother gotta go get birth certificate? That's her goddamn child. That part.
And sure enough, and Tommy McKenna questioned him on it. He says, listen, your birth certificate says you're 15, and why does your bus pass say that you're 16? He said, well, he did that to impress the girls. And so they had to stop. They had to stop the interview at that point.
It's funny what used to impress. What could pass for impressing girls when you were young?
And did his
I'm not
mother
15.
then
I'm 16.
His
What?
mother then agreed for him to be interviewed?
No.
She didn't?
No.
Okay.
No, that was...
So, that's important because his mother didn't agree to have him interviewed. And even though people say he was there, other kids, he said he wasn't there and he was let go. So, just remember when you said, "Oh, these kids was forced to say this and that." No, they put themselves there. If they didn't put themselves there or get caught there, they would have been good.
That's the end of it. That's why there's no video.
Okay.
Okay, so at this point right now, we got a homicide.
So let's go over here and see what he say is true. You serious? Now I can't see it? Are you kidding me? There we go. So, as you see, there's no video so far abusive. So he was right, like he said, no video abusive.
And they're interviewing these kids, and it's probably what we see on. Well, I mentioned the Central Park 5 jogger attackers. You're seeing interviews, but that's by the district attorney,
Liz Lederer.
Prior to that interview that she does, there's an interrogation going on that the detectives do.
Correct.
Okay, and during those interrogations, I would imagine that this is where we start putting, obviously, the pieces of the story back together, because there's so many different players, so many of these kids that were involved, and it seemed to me from looking at all the stuff that I researched that they may not. They're all kind of sort of mentioning themselves, and then like 3 other kids, and then they usually use one kid different, or something like that, and then it's never really quite nailed down as far as I could see. The 5 people, they all agree it was 5 of them. It's always like 4 of them and then 1 extra, and then the other kid will tell his story, and then it'll be 3 that match and then 1 extra.
Think of it as like a virus, and how it mutates, how it breaks apart, and then it multiplies, and then it comes together and forms a larger one. I mean, these kids were. Remember, they're running through the park. There's cops looking for them. You can see the police cars long before the police cars can see you. You could see the headlights way a long distance away. As soon as you see the headlights, is what they were doing was they would just run into the bushes and hide. So if you think about it, 3 or 4 of them are together. The police car would come. They would split up. A few would go one way. A few would go the other way. And you were with one guy, a couple of minutes ago. But now, after the cops go, you're with another group of guys because you guys split off and you're going in a different direction.
The kid you collared, Raymond Santana, from what all the stuff, Bill, I'm sure will agree, seems like he was the ringleader.
Yeah.
Like he was the one that put this together. Apparently, he put out word at school. It sounds to me like this kid was probably one of the more popular kids in the neighborhood. At least he could navigate in a way between several different groups, because the way I saw it was that he knew one kid from one group, a couple of kids from another group, a couple of kids from another group, and he went and told all these kids, "Yo, tonight we're going to go wilding in the park."
Which they, by the way, they did on a regular basis.
Oh, okay.
We've seen it before.
What's interesting, at least from when we cut to the chase, is that he says in the interview with Liz Lederer, he was naming at least, 8 to 10 kids by names, and some of them by what they were wearing. But when you see him now in these documentaries, he claims he knew no one. He didn't know any of them, which is, look, that's not even close to being believable. But these documentary people, they omit the truth by omission, basically. They just leave stuff out. Oh, how about his interview with a district attorney who was 5'2" and 120 pounds? He admitted to, by name, identified 8 or 10 kids that were with him that night. But now he didn't know any of them.
Well, as the story goes on, and we're getting these interviews, how do we get to the 5? How does those 5?
They're the 5 that there's enough evidence to charge. There's enough witnesses saying that they did it, and they said that they did it themselves.
What I noticed that
you heard them. There's enough witnesses that said they did it, and they said they did it themselves. And remember, they were found guilty by a jury of their peers.
Through watching the confessions, the reason why they're the 5 is was each one of those 5 kids put themselves there at the rape.
Right.
The one kid, Stephen Lopez and Clarence Thomas, they deny being there.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't charged.
Correct.
You heard him? Stephen Lopez and the other kid, both who gave statements, but they denied they were there, wasn't charged. Oh, they forced them to say this and they forced them to say that, so why they ain't forced them to say they was there? You see how the black argument never makes sense? The black folks just repeat shit they heard. Black folks just want to win. Like, we know OJ had something to do with that shit, but we was happy because we just want to win. But sometimes you win by losing. You feel me? So this is part of history, and these kids was actually guilty.
Now, when you listen to the kids being interviewed, the 5, sometimes one kid will bring up Clarence, another kid will bring up Stephen Lopez. Mm-hmm. More than one kid, I think, brings up Stephen Lopez. But because he denied being there, as far as I can tell, that's the only reason why he wasn't charged.
Yeah.
See? When you deny being there, you didn't get charged. But when you say you took part in it, you got charged. Duh.
All right, that's pretty interesting. I mean, when he I understand, like, all this, whatever, they're bending over backwards to make these guys, seem like they were innocent. But at the end of the day, they're the ones who did the confessions. Now, were the confessions coerced? That's what seems like the whole argument is, that these kids were kept longer than they should have been, that the confessions were coerced. But this is the second chance they have to tell the story. The first time was when they were interviewed by the detectives, and the second time they tell the story is to the ADA. Mm-hmm. She's basically referencing the statements that these kids originally made in front of their parents to the detectives.
Right.
And just to give you some reference to what they talking about in my first video, I clicked on these things and I forgot to show you, like, in most of these videos at the beginning, they show you their parents.
Ask you some questions about what happened in Central Park on the night of April 19th.
But history wants you to believe they didn't have no help.
I want to advise you of your rights with respect to any statements you make now, okay?
Every one of these kids was with their parents. But once again, history wants you to believe that, they was in there by themselves. And no, their parents gave up their rights too.
Refuse to answer any questions. Do you understand? We're trying to record and to film whatever answers you give and whatever.
And we all know black mothers make you tell the truth. You not gonna lie in front of your black mother, especially back then. Kids nowadays don't give a fuck, but back then, you wasn't gonna lie in front of your black mother.
All right, Eric, when you also say, for argument's sake, let's say that they didn't do the rape of the jogger. Let's say, just for argument's sake. Mm-hmm. There was 7 or 8 other attacks, that, including an assault one, maybe even if you stretch it as attempted murder, but certainly an assault one on the jogger Logren.
Absolutely.
And their behavior that night in these other attacks does not make them innocent kids.
No, not at all.
So what they're saying is they did other beatings that night. They beat other joggers. They took homeless people food and ate it. So, like they said, the Central Park 5 was not innocent by any means. Let's stop the bullshit.
Not in the least.
Well, that's one of the things that's conveniently not talked about in any one of these interviews is, what about the others? Okay, there's not one question that goes, okay, if you weren't involved in the rape, what about the other people that were assaulted that night? Because the guy that you mentioned, his head was split wide open. He had a lot of damage to him too. And there was another
permanent damage, I believe.
The homeless guy that got beat up. He wasn't okay either. And there was another kid who sat on a rock and ate his food. So you had a lot of different players and things going on, and a lot of stories that were so similar. Like, they all give a perfect description of how that homeless guy gets beat up. They all, most of them talk about the tandem.
Right. If you go watch the interviews, I'm not going to keep showing y'all the interviews. You got to do your own homework. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to talk big old Trump this and Trump that. Go see for yourself. Central Park 5 JoggerAttackers.com. Go watch the interviews. All the appearances there. These kids tell the exact same stories.
Bike list that went by, that they ran after, and somehow they managed to wiggle their way through. They talk about the male jogger. And they all have those stories in common. Where it all separates is when you start talking about the female jogger. I mean, one of the things that's the most disturbing is when you watch the interview with Raymond Santana, and he's talking about he grabbed her titty. If you watch the interviews,
So, Raymond Santana, right? He was a sick fuck. He raped his own mama. He kidnapped a pregnant lady, raped her, killed her. So, yes, he was a sick fuck leading the crew. Here's him right here. Let's see. Let's see if we can get right to when he talks about the lady. So let's go. It says
to be a cop, leave him alone. As he's walking away, he's still going, and that's when Jermaine ran behind him. And everybody walked away, everybody turned around. Jermaine picked him up, he threw the man on the floor, started beating him up.
When Jermaine beat him up, did he beat him with a weapon or with his hands? How was he beating him?
Like punching him.
In the face?
Yeah.
You punched him a lot of times?
Yeah, punched him a lot.
And when this guy was approaching where you were, as he was getting closer, were you all hiding behind bushes and trees?
Yeah.
Sort of like in ambush? I'm sorry?
Yes.
So when...
Remember, see that little kid? He raped his own mother. He held a pregnant woman hostage. I think maybe he raped her and another kid that may have been in the house and murdered her. This kid was already vicious.
And Jermaine got him and started punching him. What did you all do?
Everybody turned around, and everybody noticed he wasn't a cop, so everybody got down and started beating him up.
Did you start beating him up too?
Yeah.
Did you punch him?
Yeah.
Did you kick him?
No, I just punched him.
You punched him in the face?
Yeah.
Hard?
Yeah.
A lot of times?
No.
A couple of times?
Not even.
Just a few times?
Like once or twice.
And everybody was punching him and kicking him? Did anybody have a weapon?
Well, that kid that had the white on, he had a knife.
What kind of a knife did he have?
Some kind of knife.
What did it look like?
I only seen the hand. It was like a brown hand.
Okay, you're going like this. Was it a round handle? Did it have a curve in it, or was it just a straight handle?
Like a straight handle.
He didn't pull it out then?
No.
As you guys were, as you were punching him and the other people were punching him too, were people kicking him?
Yeah.
Did anybody take anything from him? Did you ask him for money?
I think they did. I'm not too sure.
Did he give you any money?
No.
Did anybody take any jewelry from him? How long did you punch and kick him?
I only used it for a while.
For a while? And then what happened?
Everybody, my friend Terry started saying for everybody knew my name.
Why was he saying that?
Because he was tired of everybody beating him.
Now, if you watch the first video, part 1, you will see where the kid said, I told them to stop, leave him alone.
Well, did the man stop moving?
No, he was still moving. So everybody stopped. Everybody walked away, and Jermaine was like, nah. You ripped my coat. So Jermaine didn't know how to stop. Kept beating him, man. Kept beating him. So everybody pulled him away. Everybody said, stop. Chill out, man.
And if you watch part 1, that's what they said. One of the kids was beating him so much, they had to stop him. These kids, by any means, were not innocent.
So as we was walking off,
Why were you pulling him away?
he was trying to murder the man. Kept hitting him, didn't want to stop. Kept hitting him, man.
So you took Jermaine, the group took Jermaine away?
Pulled him away. And as we pulled him away, he ran back and hit the man a couple of more times. And then
Did anybody else run back with him and him?
Nah, just him. Kept hitting him, man. And then as we walked away, the man was getting up.
He was getting up? Did anybody hit him with a pipe or a stick?
Yeah.
Who hit him with a pipe?
Antoine hit him with a pipe.
What kind of a pipe was it?
Like this long.
They all describe the pipe the same. They all tell the same story, but we're supposed to believe they didn't do it. We mad at Trump for saying they should go to jail. They beat many people that night. Yeah, they should have went to prison and maybe got the death penalty.
Was there any tape on the pipe? Where did the pipe come from?
I don't know, I guess he found it in the park.
Do you know whether he had it when he came into the park?
Nah, he didn't.
You know that he didn't have it?
You could tell because he had it in his hand. He can't.
The worst thing you can do, right, is to get high off the smell of your own shit, right? If I was the Central Park 5, I'd have took my money and just went somewhere else and lived another life. You would have never heard from me ever again, right? But they want to get on TV. They want to be part of the Democratic Party. And then you find people like me who gonna say, nah, wait a minute. This shit real. Y'all did other shit. Let's stop acting innocent. Keep y'all asses where y'all at. If y'all fucked up y'all money, that's y'all fault. But y'all should stay low, because y'all niggas was guilty as hell.
Boy, he didn't have a jacket. All he had on was a sweater.
He had a sweater or a sweatshirt?
A sweater with a hood. So, you know,
Made out of the same material that your shirt is now? That kind of sweater?
I don't know. Just something like this. Yeah, but it had a hood.
But it had a hood. Where did he hit him with the pipe?
All over his head, his back. Anywhere he could hit him.
Did anybody else have a stick or a pipe?
I don't know. I just seen that pipe.
That's the only one that you saw? After you left that man, where did you go?
Everybody was heading to go to the west side.
Away from the reservoir?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you go?
And as we headed to the west side, that's where I seen Kevin.
That's where you saw Kevin? Was anybody with Kevin?
Yeah.
Who was with Kevin?
Some lady.
A lady?
Mm-hmm.
How was she dressed?
I can't tell. It was too dark.
What was he doing with her?
Struggling with her.
Where was this?
It was like when you go down this hill, before you even get to the road, it was like right about there, between the trees.
Are you talking, when you say road, are you talking about the asphalt path that goes through the park? You don't really see cars on that. Or do you see cars on that? Do you know where?
I'm talking about the road that has cars on it.
Okay, and you saw him standing near that?
Yeah,
Struggling with
the lady.
Okay. What did you actually see him doing with her?
Like, he had about her wrist. He was struggling, so he put his leg out and tripped over his leg.
Was there anybody with Kevin?
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Steven. It was Steven.
Is that Steve Lopez?
Yeah. Kevin.
Richardson?
Antoine. And myself.
Now, he just told, once again, he's a seasonal criminal. This dude raped his own mama. This dude raped and murdered a pregnant lady. So no one's going to force him to say anything he don't want to say.
What about Clarence Thomas?
I see him.
What about Lamont McCall?
I see him either.
And those are dudes that when they came in that room, they said they wasn't there and they wasn't charged. So if you said you wasn't there, you wasn't charged.
So was that the full list of people who were there? You and Kevin?
People I seen us for.
You and Kevin? Anton?
And Lopez.
And Lopez. Steve Lopez. What were the others doing while Kevin was struggling with her with the wrists?
Anton was going for her clothes and Lopez was pulling her arms.
What was Anton doing to her clothes?
Trying to pull them off.
What was she wearing?
I don't know.
Were you getting closer?
Yeah.
You walked toward them?
Mm-hmm.
What did you see Anton doing to her?
just pulling more. And Kevin was pulling down his pants. Lopez is smacking the lady in the face.
Was she screaming?
She was just hollering like, help, help.
And
he smacking her.
You said that Kevin knocked her to the ground? He tripped her?
Yeah.
What happened to her when she was on the ground?
Lopez came and he was holding her by her arms. He pinched her arms with his knees. And then he covered her mouth with his hand. And then like, she was still screaming, so he started smacking her.
What did he smack her with?
His hand.
Where did he smack her?
In the face. Smacked her in the face.
Where was he in relation to her body? She was lying on the ground.
Like this.
And he was behind her head?
Yeah.
And he was holding her hands? You said that he was kneeling on her arms?
Yeah, on her arms.
And what was he doing with his hands?
He was covering her mouth. But every time she was talking, he was smacking. He said, shut up, bitch. He kept smacking her.
How many times did he smack her?
I think twice, 3 times.
And did she keep screaming?
Mm-hmm. And he just kept smacking her.
Did somebody stuff something in her mouth?
No, he picked up the brick and he hit her with the brick twice.
Where did he hit her with the brick?
Around her face, like around here or something up here.
After he hit her in the head with the brick, did she stop screaming?
Yeah, and she was like shocked.
When you say she was shocked, what did you see?
She just stood there. She didn't do nothing.
Did she stop moving?
Mm-hmm. She just stood there. And it was
When you say she just stood there, was she lying down or standing up?
lying down.
After he hit her in the head with the brick, did you see if her eyes were open?
No, I didn't see it.
What was Kevin doing while Steve Lopez was holding her hands and hitting her with the brick?
He was having sex with her.
What did you see him doing? Was he on top of her?
Mm-hmm.
You have to answer out loud and say yes or no.
Yes.
And did you see whether his pants were on?
They were off.
Did he take them all the way off or just take them down or just open his
Pulled them
bra?
down.
How far down did he pull them?
About a little past his knees.
And did he say anything while he was on top of her?
No, he was just having sex with her.
What did he do? Did he get on top of her?
Yeah, he was.
And at the point that he got on top of her, did she have any clothes on?
No.
Where were her legs?
Like wrapped around him.
Wrapped around him?
Like, you know, behind him.
Behind him? Were her legs open and apart?
Yeah.
Was anybody holding her feet?
I don't know. I just know Anton was behind Kevin.
Could you see what he was doing? Where were you standing?
I was on the side of Kevin.
Were you watching?
No, I was grabbing lady titties.
See how we smirked when he said I was grabbing the lady titties? Look, you know, because he's sick. I was grabbing her titties.
Could you see what he was doing? Where were you standing?
I was on the side of Kevin.
Were you watching?
No, I was grabbing lady titties.
Yeah, he was grabbing her titties. So there you have it. You see these kids by far was it innocent.
The interrogations is like, well, at this point right now, she's just interviewing him based on the interrogation. But he says, I grabbed the titty. And he describes one of the other kids as raping her. And they all kind of sort of describe one other kid as raping her. Mm-hmm. Now, this is where the story gets even more crazy. These kids wind up, what happens to them after this? Obviously, they get locked up, right? What happens?
Well, they get locked up. They go to jail. They do their time.
Where were you in the court system in this? When did you have to go to court all the time and testify?
Yeah.
How many times?
I couldn't even count.
Were all these kids being tried together or separately?
The first 5 were tried together. I think there was like 3 trials, and then the rest pled out.
All right, so you had the first 5 that were getting charged with the rape, and then the other 2 trials were assaults on the joggers.
Mm-hmm. But also, I would just like to add, with the first trial, because Ken and Sarah Burns completely misrepresented this, we had the DNA during the first trials. Everybody knew about it. The prosecution had it, the judge was aware of it, the defense had it, the news knew about it, everybody knew that.
Well, shame on us. We didn't paint a picture of that. When we talk about what was the rape, what was the rape? Tell us what you know, what's documented about the actual rape. She's a jogger, she's running. What happens?
Apparently, they ambushed her. A group of kids.
They ran out of the bushes.
Attacked her, were beating her, dragged her off the road. They all said the same thing, that they couldn't sexually perform. They couldn't penetrate her. They couldn't get erections, which makes total sense. A bunch of 14, 15-year-old kids are in the middle of Central Park, outside, in the middle of the night, with another 20, 30 other kids that they don't know, beating the life out of some woman that they don't know. Who... Of course they're not going to get an erection. Of course they're not going to be able to perform. Who's going to be able to perform under those circumstances? The guy who raped his mother. The guy who raped, tortured, and murdered a pregnant woman in front of her 2 children.
And we're talking about
Reyes.
What's his name?
Mateus Reyes.
Mateus Reyes.
Oh, I was wrong. It was Mateus Reyes, right? It wasn't the other guy. My fault, folks. I'm not afraid to say I was wrong.
So of course you're going to find his semen, because he's disinhibited. He doesn't have a conscience. He doesn't that sort of thing.
None of the other kids described this guy Mateus as being on the scene. Do you think he was? He was the same age as they were at the time?
Yeah. And
you think he's part of the group?
Absolutely.
And why wouldn't any one of the kids mention him?
I don't think they knew him.
By name?
Well, I think...
Could there have been a fear? Could he have been the craziest...
No.
Other group?
He was older than them? Wasn't he 18?
He was a little bit older than them. He was a little bit of a loner. He was an oddball.
You know what? I think that's a good spot to stop it. I had y'all long enough. The first video was 1 hour and 20 minutes. And like I always say, I don't know where my memory be. So it may stop and I want to get to the next video. So, as you can see, man, these dudes wasn't innocent. They was doing a whole bunch of shit. They told on each other. And it was all done legitly. Donald Trump had every right to say what he had, because these kids were guilty of shit and they told it. Like I always say, I present you with the facts. I give you my opinion on those facts. And if you like how I do that, hit that like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, click all so you can get notifications every time I drop one of these videos. If you're a supporter of the channel, much love and respect goes out to you. I salute. And if you're one of these haters out here and you believe these dudes was innocent after being found guilty by a jury or their peers, cut the shit. That part.